time, we're going to ask, I want to introduce Annette Rank. Annette has lived in Wisconsin all of her life, growing up in northwestern Wisconsin, but lived in Madison most of her adult life. She's recently relocated to Jackson. She's a mother of 3, including 2 adult boys, and she also has a 3-month-old granddaughter. But tonight, she's going to talk with us about her oldest daughter, Alyssa.
Thank you. Speaking tonight continues my ongoing effort to bring awareness to the horrible addiction that took my daughter Alyssa's life. I've made it a mission of mine since her passing to do my part to inform and educate people about heroin addiction and the fact that it can and will take anyone. This vicious drug does not discriminate, not by race or sex or economic circumstances, not by upbringing or religious beliefs. Anyone that ever tries it is at risk. It's an awesome responsibility to try to bring hope, inspiration, and maybe some sort of peace to others who have felt the same horrific pain that I have. I know that many of you share this pain, the worst pain imaginable of losing a child. Others of you have lost their sibling, a parent, or another relative or a friend, and others yet still may be struggling with addiction yourselves, or someone you love is struggling. Whatever it is that brings you here tonight, we hope you find some answers here. For those of you who have lost someone to addiction, it was most likely an untimely and unexpected loss, bringing tremendous pain and grief to your life. We all deal with these feelings and emotions in our own way. There's no proper way. It forms from how we were raised, our past experiences with death, and our own emotional state at the time. I had experienced a large personal loss in my life almost 20 years prior to my daughter's death. I lost one of my sisters when she was 30 years old. I watched my mom crumble into only pieces of what she was before it happened. It was the hardest thing I had dealt with up to that point. My sister left behind 4 daughters aged 12 and under. How does a person wrap their brain around that? How do you explain it to her children? There were so many questions with no real answers. It took nearly 10 years before my mom could even mention my sister Michelle's name. That was difficult for me, but it was how my mom needed to heal. It was not up to me. My path is different from my mother's. I feel the need to speak Alyssa's name and to talk about her and her life and struggles in order to keep her and her memory as close to me as possible. Yes, it hurts to talk about her at times. Yes, I still break down and cry a full day away because I miss her so badly. Yes, I still get angry with her and with the people who took her down that path of drug use. But then I have to pull myself up and bring myself back to this time, to my boys and my new grandbaby who still need me. They need all of me, not just a shell of me. And to my other family and friends who have loved and supported me in countless ways, and to the world around me, still beautiful in so many ways. Alyssa was my firstborn. I can still see in my mind the moment she was born, her tiny arm reaching into the air, and that first moment when she was placed in my arms. It was a magical moment. She grew and blossomed as a beautiful and joyful young girl, enjoying all of the things other girls her age did. As she hit her teenage years, we began to have some behavior problems with her, but never found any obvious reasons for them. She was diagnosed with anxiety, but refused to see or talk to counselors or psychologists. It wasn't until about a year before her passing that she finally confided in me that she had been sexually assaulted as a teen. It explained a lot, and I was devastated that I hadn't realized it and that she hadn't gotten the help that she needed. I'm sure things would have been very different if she had. All that being said, before her addiction, Alyssa was a loving and wonderful young woman. She was drawn to nature and art, and I think of her in the beauty I see every day around me. She loved animals, and not just cute fuzzy ones that most of us like, She had a pet snake and a tarantula to go along with her kitty. She told me once that she loved the creatures that others thought unlovable. I remember being so touched by those words, thinking how selfless and sweet it was of her to feel that way. She had a very gentle heart. She also had an amazing and quirky sense of humor. She loved to thrift and antique shop and would find random silly things and make such a big deal out of them. She would take photos of them, or maybe herself with them, and send to her friend Mason in California. They would laugh and joke about them all the time. I have always loved wearing dress boots, and often the heels would make fairly loud clacking noises when I would walk, and she would tease me that I sounded like a hooker. I know, not a real compliment, but I thought it was funny, and I miss it. She called me Maja. I have no idea where she got it from or why she started using it, but I sure miss hearing it. I miss her voice. I'm sure many of you have similar stories of your loved one, moments and memories that you cherish and keep close to your hearts. I have a box of her things, little things that she treasured or were just part of who she was. Some of her glasses, she didn't really need to wear them, but she liked them and had several pair. Same with hats. Same with hats. She liked them and looked good in them, so I kept them. Her coat, it still smells like her, and I take it out and I hold it close and remember how it smelled and felt like when I hugged her. I will never get rid of these things. I need them. I have her kitty, Nico. She loved him very much, and he's a great cat and a constant reminder of her in my life. He will. I think there are times when her spirit comes to play with him. He will chase something that I can't see, dashing around the room, looking up into the air, as if he sees something or someone that I can't see. I'm quite sure it's Alyssa. I want to believe it, and so I do. When I lost her to the addiction, I didn't just lose my daughter. I lost much more than that. Because as all of us know, addiction doesn't only affect the abuser, it affects the entire family. It will crack and crumble any relationship that has a weakness. That was the case with my marriage. Dealing with the stresses and differences of opinion on how to approach Alyssa's addiction broke through the cracks and crumbled what was left of our relationship. He was not willing to go to counseling because it wasn't his problem. When he wasn't willing to spend the money to send her to treatment, it was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I found a way on my own to get the money for a treatment program, and it was only days after I sent her there that my husband asked for a divorce. That was just the beginning of several months of life changes ahead of me. I would move out of the home where I had nurtured my family for the last 13 years to get a place where Alyssa and I could live when she returned from treatment. I had to change jobs in order to earn more income to support us and pay for the divorce. It was a lot to deal with at one time, but I had high hopes for when Alyssa would return. I had picked an apartment with woods, marshes, and walking paths behind it. I knew she would like spending time and walking there, but it also was not far from town, so she could ride her bike there if she wanted. I brought her furniture and all her favorite things and set them up in her room to make it perfect for her. It had to be just so that she would have no stresses when she came home, a safe and comfortable place to relax. The 40 days of treatment time was up, and it was time for Alyssa to come home. I was so excited to see her. I thought it would be a new beginning for both of us, a new start to the story that would surely have a happy ending. She would be all better, and her life would start to follow a more positive path. But I was very wrong. Heroin's grip was stronger than I had realized, and at the time, I did not know that. This is the reason we need to educate ourselves and others about its tremendous danger. We need to be there to support and guide the abuser, to keep them strong and to direct them toward positive things rather than falling into the trap of using again. I lost my daughter less than 48 hours after she came home from treatment. I found her in a room, the one that I had so carefully put together for her, lying still on her bed with a needle on the bedside table next to her. I could tell something wasn't right, and when she didn't respond to my calling her name, my heart sank. I went to her, and she was cold. After not being able to wake her, I called 911. When they were on their way, I called my girlfriend, and she and her son came to be with me. I do remember still being in the bedroom, clinging to Alyssa's body when Joan arrived. I remember thinking to myself, why would she do this to me? After all I've done to try and help her, it just didn't make any sense. I've come to realize that they don't mean to do this to us. It is the unfortunate circumstance of this horrible addiction. The rest of the day was a blur of police, coroners, and questions. It seemed like it lasted forever. It was the most surreal thing ever when they took my daughter's body away. Not the sight any parent wants to see, their child being taken away, zipped into a bag. I'll never forget it. Part of me is gone now, and there's no replacing it. I'm forever changed. What I've come to realize is that I can and need to function as this new person. And as this new person, I have the responsibility to try to help others by sharing my story. To help the addicted to see how this drug not only changes their life, but the lives of everyone around them. To help family and friends of the addicted to see how it is not their fault, how the drug has its talents in the addicted, and how difficult it is to break free. But that even with this great loss, they can and must go on. To help the community and government to see what a tremendous problem opiate and heroin addiction is and how it affects so many people. And to make everyone aware of how easy it is to fall into the trap of heroin use and abuse, but how difficult it is to get out. This is our responsibility. If we do not tell our stories, this is just another hidden epidemic. We need to be an army of mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, children, and friends, converging on the government and insisting on change. What is being done now is not working. My daughter had OD'd several times in the 6 months prior to her death. She was given Narcan to bring her back to life, then tossed back out into the world as if nothing happened. Because she was an adult, I was not informed of these incidents, so I was not able to get her the help as soon as I should have, and neither the police nor the hospital offered her any help whatsoever. When someone does go looking for help, there's no room in the program. You need to wait days, weeks, or even months for an opening. This is not acceptable. One day may be all it takes for heroin to take that person's life. More government funding is needed to increase the availability of programs and homes to help these addicts get on the road to recovery. We need to make everyone aware of this, and we can't do it by keeping our stories to ourselves. It takes public outrage to make change, and the public needs to hear our stories of struggle to realize what needs to change. Every person that knows your story is likely to share it with someone else when the topic of addiction arises. Your personal story may be the fuel that sparks in them the motivation to push for change. It may be a letter written to government representative or a financial donation to one of the wonderful groups that work to provide education and support. Whatever it is, it's another person on our team, another soldier in our army fighting for our cause. One person at a time, we can grow our army until it is too large to be ignored any longer. This is how we can make a change. We can help save the life of someone and spare another family the agony that we bear every day. Thank you all for coming tonight, for listening to my story, and for becoming an instrument for change. I wish peace for each of you as you deal with the struggles of addiction or loss in your lives. Keep your loved one forever in your heart, but also share them with the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much.